Hello, everybody. So lovely to see you. Anagarika Sara also is here and saying hi to everybody. Hello, they're saying hi also. And yeah, it's wonderful to have everybody again. I think one of the things after the retreat that was interesting, I think one of the feedback that we got, I think it was at the sharing circle, somebody was asking, so when is level 2? When are we going to have like a level 2 of these retreats? Because this is like level 1 and then level 2. People were asking if I had any grade or levels to the teachings, and I thought it was pretty funny. So it got me thinking about the retreat, and there was other comments about like how the retreats happen, and because we just finished one. That's why I'm kind of leaning into the structure of it. These retreats have been kind of designed for a long time to work in a very specific way, and there's a lot of material on retreat that we touch upon, and usually just one retreat is not fully enough to really. It takes a few times, a few cycles to really sink in all of the information, and then to adjust and align with the teachings. And sometimes some meditators will do a bit of forgiveness for quite a big part of the retreat. This retreat was particularly forgiveness oriented, so that was a beautiful aspect of it. It's like in the middle of the retreat, I would say 70% of the meditators went into this big forgiveness vortex. So offloading a lot of karma and a lot of baggage, and actually this is some of the best transition or like progress that we see. Actually, some of the best progress that I've seen in meditation, when people have we slow down at the first few days and we start to work with the loving kindness, and it brings up things. And so if we have things accumulated, then usually it starts to come up day 4, day 5. And so sometimes the first retreat will be a lot of forgiveness, and then the next retreat will be more like, starting from the ground up, and there's less forgiveness to do, things are lighter. And so there's many levels in the retreat structure, so there's not a level 2 coming up anytime soon. Because I think the level 2 is, in my mind, is only when meditators have heard the Dhamma many times and have practiced many retreats, and at some point the practice really starts to become more anchored, and that can take a few retreats to actually get started. So that's why we do it like that. That's why I do it like that. My teacher also had a very specific sequence of talks and gradual kind of training that worked very well. Of course, I took a lot from him, and I also have noticed things for myself. So, and many people come from many places. Many come from different traditions, from different practices. Some have never meditated before, some have meditated a lot. And so these retreats are quite special because we have a lot of different people, and so we have to have a little bit of universal content. But there was talks of having some more, let's say, some further kind of Dhamma retreats for people that have done it many times and would like to have a little bit more around the teachings, around deeper teachings. But the thing is, to receive that is we need to have a very good, solid foundation, and so I'm hoping that one day we'll get there. But I think right now we're at the beginning stages still. So yeah. Other than that, the retreat was quite amazing, quite beautiful. So many beautiful people, and very nice to spend that time with everybody. Such a pleasure every time. There's always this big field of goodness around the monastery and around everybody after the retreat, and spirits are high, and it's always so beautiful to take part of this every time. Yeah. And I don't know if what has been happening for you in your life, anything you'd like to share or discuss. I forgot to mention that if you're not comfortable speaking aloud, you can also type down in the chat, and I can read the questions and I can answer them too, no problem.
Nowadays, I mean, if you watch something on YouTube,
yes,
the same feed, I mean, they know what you want. So, I mean, nowadays I'm watching the videos of law of attraction, manifestation.
Yes.
And they always start with the quote from Buddha, what do you think, I mean, you become. So I know, I mean, it is out of context they are using. But they're saying lots of think positive, and like you take affirmations and those things. I mean, do you think, I mean, those things work? I mean, what is your view in the view of Dhamma?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a great question. I was really into that kind of stuff before too. Well, the law of attraction, I don't know how to say that, but just yeah, you're responsible. In the end, it brought me to the understanding of karma. So yeah, in a way, that's very in line with what the Buddha taught. It depends how it's interpreted, that's for sure. But it's the same thing for mental states. Actually, it's funny. Maybe I can. There was a question. Somebody sent me a few questions, and one of the questions was that they've heard that a person will consistently perceive negative traits in others which they actually have themselves, and that the external world mirrors the internal one. So see, it's actually very close to your question. Does the Buddha speak on this, huh? Of mirroring and reflecting views, and so I guess that's going to be the topic to start with. It totally is. You know, when we speak of the taints of the mind, the currents of the mind, the asavas. Asava is sometimes Bhikkhu Bodhi translates it as taints. Personally, the root of it kind of points to a movement, like something that flows. Shru, like asava. And but however we take it, that word, whatever the meaning we think is, So basically, the mind has its own inclinations. It's like the study with the pen in the mouth that I keep referring to on day one, about smiling. Even if you don't believe in smiling, if you just put a pen in your mouth and like fake a complete fake smile, you'll actually perceive the world in a much happier way, because it actually triggers the same facial expression and the neural pathways over time in your brain. But it's completely true, and it's true in both ways. We the state of our mind is what taints how we perceive things. So if we cultivate our minds to be wholesome, to be loving and kind, and to be happy and uplifted, and to let go and to not stick onto things, to not hold on, to not take things so personal all the time, then it's easy. It's just what you see is loving kindness, and when you come upon harshness, if your mind is well developed, then you'll know how to just flow kind of around it and just not get hooked on it. You know, it's like, it's not you, it's not personal, it's just life, you know. Things happen and you just keep flowing. And in the same way, when we have anger and jealousy, resentment, and all these things, we actually tend to see that in people also, and especially negative traits, you know, judging and all that. Oh, this person is like this. Oh, this person is like that. Oh, it's always happening to me like this and that. And pretty soon, and that's where I think we get close to the law of attraction that you're talking about, is really what the Buddha taught. You know, what you give is what you receive. I really love the Goenka's talk on this, where he says, you know, everybody wants to eat sweet mangoes. Everybody wants sweet mangoes, and because mango has just naturally, it's sweet and it's tasty and it's delicious, and it's every fiber of it is wonderful, it's sweet. But then if you only have neem seeds and you plant neem everywhere, neem has a bitter quality, so everywhere you taste it, it tastes bitter. It's just neem here in Sri Lanka is called kohomba. Kohomba, whenever you tasted the leaves, or it's bitter. It's good for you, but it's and so if you plant a lot of seeds of neem everywhere, and you pray, please give me sweet mangoes, it's not gonna happen, because what you're planting is neem. You're planting bitter seeds, bitter trees. And so I really like that analogy of Goenka. It was a really nice story. I don't tell it very well. It's been a long time. And he has, you know, he's Goenka, so he has his own amazingness. So which I don't have. But yeah, so in life that's the way it works. What the plans that we seed around us, that's what is going to come back at us. That's what is going to come back. And the thing is, the mind dictates everything. So if we want to see judgment, if we want to see criticism, if we want to see harshness and jealousy, we're planting these seeds everywhere around, and guess what? These people are also going to bring that to us. And I think, you know, the manifestation here is all about changing our minds and changing our perception of the world by training ourselves. And it's quite amazing what loving kindness does, and our practice and letting go and smiling. So many people are surprised after the retreats. They're like, yeah, I'm just walking down the street and, you know, I'm just smiling at people, and like people are smiling at me like all the time. That never used to happen. Well, there you go. You're manifesting your own reality. That's how it is. If you give your smile away, it will come back to you. And as you keep practicing, things will happen, you know, like challenges will come. Of course, it's life. This is samsara. I mean, it's not gonna stop easy like this. But the more you do it, the more you keep doing it, and persistently, then you're actually slowly you're growing the roots of goodness everywhere around. And the more, you know, sometimes we think like karma is like an instant or something, but sometimes it takes a long time. It takes years to come back. You know, when you help someone, at some point, like 5 years later, you might need help, and they're gonna be there for you. But it's not apparent just right then, of course. That's just an example, but it works in so many kinds of ways. And so people that you've touched, or that you've helped, or that you've met, or all of our little actions in life, we are slowly manifesting our reality in that sense. And that's how I understand it now.
Thank you.
Yes. Great question.
Yeah, may I?
Yes,
ask?
please.
Yes. Yeah, it's. Thank you very much also for asking the question, but also for your nice answering. Yeah, sometimes it's a little bit difficult for me to expose myself in English, but I have to do it. It's okay. I can do it. But one of the problems now is to directly it may be emotional, but how to deal with family relations. I have a very complicated family, and my parents, they passed away. I have a brother and a sister, and the children of my brother, they have a twin, and one I have a very good relationship. It's like a soul connection, and the other one, we haven't had contact for many years. She was very far away. And last January, I was in Portugal with my sister, her husband, and also that niece was coming with her daughter, and it was very beautiful. So we can speak a lot of things, and also to repair the old things. So it was very beautiful. Yes, sorry for my difficult speaking, but it's also it's very emotional now. I see, but now my sister, I had a good relationship with my sister, but she's also very hard, always judging and not. I'm very sensitive, and sometimes she blames me for that. I'm feeling too much, and it's not easy for her to deal with it, but we always can do it. And yesterday, from time to time, we have a talk by the telephone, and we're talking about money. I do have enough money, but it was something about that. I said, sometimes, what are things worth for you? It's not because I don't have the money, but I don't think I will give my money for other things. Now, she says, I'm done with your complaint about it, and she pushed down the telephone, and I was so upset about it. Yeah. Yes, sorry for my...
No, that's okay.
It looks like it's a kind of balance. One is is repairing, is going better, and then the other one is going to fight with me, and I don't want to fight because I think, it's not my anger, it's not my problem. I only want to express myself. It's nothing. I don't expect anything from her. So, but it was so surprising, and now, when I talk about it, I'm going full of it. It's crazy.
Yes.
So, you said what you give is what you get, but I have now the feeling I get now her anger. It's not my anger. It's from her, and she's dropping it with me. But I want to give it back to her.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry for.
No. That's okay. We're here for that.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's. Yes. Family. That's the big test.
Yeah, family is so complicated. I struggled my whole life with family. First with my mom, and now with my sister. Yeah.
That's what I like to tell people. I say that if you think you're awake, then go spend some time with your family.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true, yeah.
You'll know.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I know.
Yes. I think it's good to. That's what I was saying also, is that, life will happen, it will still, things like that will still happen. And even to me, crazy things happen sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, many times. But the thing is, it's about just understanding a few things that, when people do things like that, and I'm not aware of the whole situation. I know there's always many sides to a story, and I know, but what I know is that when people hurt us, often by just the way that they behave or the way that they speak or whatever it is usually because within themselves they are not feeling also well. That's usually what is happening, because if they were to be well and grounded, then they could also respond with kindness, maybe try to help, maybe knowing that you're going through a hard time and that you need someone to listen, to hear, a confident, and maybe not taking it personally, whatever you were telling them. Maybe within them, maybe they didn't have too much cushion or leeway. And it was just like, I also I'm tired of this. I don't want this anymore. I can't take this. And so just pushing and clashing.
Yeah.
But when that happens, it's important to remember that the people that hurt us usually are the people that are hurt also within them. And so we change the anger and we change the frustration into a compassion with that wisdom. Understanding, well, perhaps she's actually maybe at the end of her role as well. Maybe she's not having that capacity to receive that, and that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, because I think it's true. She's not okay. She's not in a good condition now, and she is so angry. So something happens and she's just responding on it. So I think it's not good if people behave like that. That something different is under it. Yeah, but it's true, and it's good to see that she perhaps she's in big need now. I don't know, but she have to talk about me about that. Yeah.
Yes. And these people, what I love to do with these people usually is to just send loving kindness to them.
Yeah.
And
I understand.
yes, because they are the first people that need it.
Yeah.
And they,
Even if we talk about now, I have to cry. I have to cry because of her. It's so. It's
yes.
very painful to
Yes.
see her like that.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And it's okay, it's
But
not
it's-
personal. You know, these things,
Yeah.
people do these things because they have accumulated so much and then it
Yeah.
overflows to other people.
Yeah.
See, the bitter
Yeah.
neem.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand it. Thank you
Yes,
very much,
yes.
Bhante.
Good, good, very good. And over the course of a long time, if you continue not retaliating, not not adding on to the fire, not responding with anger, then if you lead, if you show them a different way, very often there will be a change, because they'll see that it's not actually working, or
Yeah.
So
But that's also one of the questions. It's sometimes your family, we are all a part of our family, but we also we have to bear their difficulties also, and it's sometimes from a long time ago. But
yes,
sometimes it's not easy to understand it, but also how to deal with it. Yeah.
yeah.
But that's also karma, eh? Yeah.
I also went through a very difficult episode with my family, especially when I decided to become a monk, and it was very, very difficult. Basically, it was a big separation, big rupture, and many members in my family were very upset and sad because it was like abandonment, and but over the years because now they're starting to understand what I'm doing, and they're seeing that I actually really love them, and I have a lot of love for them, even more now than before. And because I've maintained my practice and I've maintained this love that they can feel for a long time, things are getting a lot better. Things have gotten a lot better over the years. And so it's good to not get caught up in the small little things that happen, and to keep going forward, and to not forgive them, forgive these people. Don't carry this on you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. May I say a last thing? Because some weeks ago you sent us a loving kindness meditation from about 50 minutes. Do you remember? And it was in the app. It was very beautiful. I think it was from the retreat. And I sent it to my niece, the niece which was the contact, it wasn't very good, and that we did there. And she's so angry about her ex-husband, So I sent it to her, and she said, "Oh, it was so beautiful, and it helped her." So that was very good. But it's also the forgiveness. It's good loving kindness for forgiveness. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, the forgiveness.
Yeah, so that was also part of my family story.
Good, good, wonderful. Yeah, we've had this was a very prominent topic on the retreat. So we've just been through quite a bit of forgiveness, and it was actually one of the most forgiveness I've seen on retreat, and it was very beautiful. Some changes that happened. These turnarounds, just shifting perspectives can just drop so much baggage in no time, and in a very amazing way. And as we practice, that's one of the reasons why I'm not thinking of doing a level 2 or a level 3, is that there's too many things happening on the retreat. Like, people are having so many different experiences, and to really fully get into the loving kindness practice and to really lift up, one's heart has to be light. We have to be light. There's no other way. And so if there's heaviness in the heart, then it's very difficult to this practice is not very possible. Usually there will be some tension arising, and then it's something is impeding us, and so it's such a beautiful practice in so many ways, because it's complete. Like, it's a very whole body of teachings that are starting from the ground up. We can't really bypass or try to go fast. Things have to get done at the basement floor, in the basement, the foundation, and then we can start building up. But yeah, I've done quite a bit of forgiveness in my days also. in the hardest part of my life, I spent about 2 years doing a lot of forgiveness work towards myself, mostly. I was very judgmental. You might not think of that right now, but I was very judgmental. I was a very judgmental person. And when I started meditating, I wasn't mean, but or anything, but just very a critical mind kind of thing. So my mom didn't want to meditate with me, like, at all, for the first 4 or 5 years, because she didn't really like the way that, I don't know, maybe I was becoming a little too rigid or something like that. But then when I changed and I started loving kindness and this practice, she actually wanted to start with me. And it's really funny how other people around you also can feel it. It's because I was training my mind in my previous meditation to be to focus on things and to really kind of concentrate or things like that. But the mind was very hard. It was very narrow. And so there wasn't a whole lot of room to include other people in this. It was not like, I did have loving kindness, but anyways, it was limited, I guess. The rigidity was stronger than the loving kindness. And I don't want to talk about these techniques or give them names or anything, but it's just how my mind became over time a bit more judgmental and critical. And actually it wasn't helping at all my relationships, and I could actually have more composure. I was more, my mind was more fixed or trained to be centered, but yeah, it was quite rigid. So part of my path was actually to break out of this and to loosen up and to actually learn the qualities of mental states and loving kindness and opening up also more and more, and then discovering a completely different way of practice which works only with mental states. So there's no need to direct the mind or to focus or anything. It's actually the mind becomes unified by cultivating loving kindness and letting go and cultivating joy. But yeah, in order to get there, it was a long path of cleaning out the closet for me. So a lot of heaviness. I remember crying a lot, definitely, until I had nothing left in me, and then starting over the next day, crying all the tears in my body. And it was part of my release process, because I didn't know how to release like I do now, but and it needed to come out, and it, instead of being held down. So because that actually takes a lot of our energy. We don't realize when in our waking life, but the things that we hold inside of us, it takes a lot of energy to do that, to like push down things. And so when we allow them to come up and be released, we feel a lot lighter. People on retreat, it's really funny. There's a lot of people who say like they have like a shift in their bodies, like their whole bodies is changing because they're releasing tension from many places in the body and in the mind because it's together connected. And sometimes they have new sensations that they've never felt in their bodies because they're just unlocking some kind of tightness that was there for years without noticing it anymore. And so it's really funny. For some days, sometimes people are like, oh yeah, like this is like my back and my spine, or like my whole left arm is like tingly, or because it's got some circulation again in it because of letting go and relaxing, softening. And so yeah, forgiveness is pretty powerful. So I had, if nobody has a next topic, you're welcome to step in or pop it into the chat. I don't even know how to. Oh, there it is. Good. But there was another question from that same, from this person, this mysterious, anonymous person, who was asking. Now we're stepping up again a little bit, talking about dependent origination. And if it's correct to think that Bhāva and Saṅkhāra, which is we call sometimes habitual tendencies and mental activities or mental formations, are as mostly the same thing, as being these two things as being mainly the same thing, except that Bhāva is an outflowing, just created or reinforced tendency, which is stirred into one's big soup pot. I think that person was probably making soup in the cold Canadian winter. And Saṅkhāra is the incoming arising spoonful which flavors each current moment. That's kind of a question that arises from the way that I talk about dependent origination. Usually when I teach it, the analogy is that well, there's a few, but there's the one with the computer, or like the coding, that we can, we're coding our habitual tendencies, our bhava, and that coding becomes stored as mental activities, or it's not only mental activities, mind, speech, and body, speech, and mind, but mainly mental activities. And so there is a very close connection between these two. I don't know if you agree with that, but great. The way that we condition ourselves from these desires, tanha, and then holding on to these desires as they become more crystallized into more like of an attachment, which is upadana. And then that becomes a habitual tendency, which is, at that point, is almost unconscious. It's almost under the level of awareness, because habitual tendencies, we just do them because we're used to it. It's a habit pattern, and so we're not really thinking about it, and so we just do it. And then there's the birth of action, which is either taking action spontaneously on a specific event. Somebody that says something to us that is not very nice, and then we retaliate, and then that's our habitual tendency, maybe a little bit impatient or anger according to some topics, and then we retaliate. But these habitual tendencies, we kind of code them into our beings. We accumulate the seeds. It's like at this level of dependent origination, I like to see it as the flower that blooms. And the flower, after it blooms, it makes some kind of fruit, and it goes into seed. And these seeds are how I understand mental activities. So they're like the little seeds that lay dormant in our consciousness, in our experience, ready to arise at any moment. And this fuels consciousness and the whole cycle. So I think, I'm not sure about the soup, because that's not my analogy. I would have to think a little bit more about it. But yes, in a way, that's kind of how it is. Bhava is more this kind of outgoing, the more active phase of conditioning the mind. And so what we think we become, like Avinash was saying, what one thinks over, ponders upon over and over again, that becomes the inclination of the mind. And so in that way, this is how habitual tendencies arise. And then these habitual tendencies, they need kind of triggers. So we need the right event, we need the right conditions, the right causes for them to kind of grow, to come out. And so, yeah. So mental activities, sankharas, as being the potential, and it's there, it's stored somewhere in the mind, and it's just ready to poke its head.
May I ask another question?
Yes, please.
So, Buddha talks in one of the sutta, benefit of loving kindness. He did 7-year meditation of loving kindness, and he, for merit of that, he born in the Brahmaloka, then Devaloka, and then human in very good destinations. So I mean, obviously it's from the previous life. I mean, not he's talking about his previous life. So I mean, he's talking about the metta with the jhana, or like it's different kind of technique he is talking about. One question is that, and I mean, this merit is applicable to especially to the metta only, or you can use anapana and you also get same benefit. Is there is special about the metta?
Yeah, metta is definitely has its own, a lot of special little things about the metta practice. Definitely, I think the Buddha, if you've read a little bit the Digha Nikaya, the long discourses, where all the I really like the Digha Nikaya because it's got a lot of really crazy and long stories, and it has some stories about the past lives of the Buddha, and especially the ones that one of them, I think it's the Gopalaka Sutta, the goat herd, or Gopalaka. Oh, I think it was his name, and he's recounting a past life of his where he was chaplain of the many kings, and he was very loved by all of them, and he was giving very good advice for the kingdoms. And one day he heard that if you practice loving kindness for a year in a solitary, isolated, you could see Brahma, you could see God. And so, as a good Indian as he was, of course he went for it. If you can just do loving kindness for a year by yourself, that's nothing. Great, let's go see Brahma. And so so he left everything for a year, and he did, and he saw Brahma, and he brought, the story is really long because it's in the long discourses, obviously. So I'm gonna try to summarize. But finally he comes back, and he lost taste for any worldly kind of life anymore. He just, he's seen Brahma, so, what can this world do? So and he's really decided, no, he's leaving everything, and he's giving a 7-day notice to his multiple bosses. And he goes, and they say, look, no, okay, just give us a week, and we're quitting too. We're going with you. And so that's how much they loved him. And so they just left everything, and he practiced loving kindness. And I think that's the life that what you're referring to is a sutta in the Itivuttaka Sutta, and it's a shorter book, but I think it's related to that lifetime. And for that lifetime, he was the teacher of all these people, and he was practicing loving kindness, and he brought it to a very far kind of practice for many years. And so it doesn't say specifically jhanas or not, but in other suttas it does say, like the Chakravati Sihanada Sutta, like the lion's roar, or of the wheel turning king, when he was a wheel turning king in India, and was ruling with the Dhamma, basically with goodness. And at the end of his life, he was sitting in his a temple with I don't know how many thousands of pillars of gold, and anyways, and he was kind of like, yeah, I've got everything, like what I need now is, God, or like spiritual upliftment or spiritual life. And he speaks about attaining these jhanas, the same that we are practicing. But in both lifetimes, he did not break through to Nibbana. So he was not kind of able to, for example, when he became the Buddha, he realized that his lifetime that he spent only practicing metta, he realized that metta is an amazing vehicle, but it does not lead to Nibbana. So you have to go further. You have to leave even loving kindness after developing it a lot, and understand that it's conditioned also. And so here we get into level 2, guys. This is level 2. Well, it's not really level 2, but it's part of the retreats anyways. But at some point, the loving kindness only goes so far. And so, and you're talking about anapanasati and all that. And in my understanding, like when you read the Rahula Sutta, when the advice to Rahula, his son, he actually taught the 4 Brahma Viharas first. And then at the very end, when there was a good, strong base of mental development, then he would teach Anapana. Because I think Anapanasati is, when done properly, it's actually it's an advanced practice in so many ways. If you read the last 4 trainings, it's, seeing impermanence, and then seeing letting go, seeing nirodha, the cessation of everything, and then the breaking free. I mean, that's pretty advanced material. And so that's why I think mindfulness of breathing is actually a more advanced practice when it's done in that way. But the first part of it, it's basically just learning how to develop the 7 factors of awakening, breathing in and out. It's that simple. But yes, that particular sequence of Anapanasati, actually, Anapanasati goes all the way. Because it's also the satipatthanas, it's also the 4 foundations of mindfulness. It's just seeing things like we are not bringing up anything, we're not creating any mental states. Loving kindness is created, it is conditioned, it is coming from a cause, we are making it. Even though that making is extremely wholesome, we have to also understand it. We have to let it go and keep going further. And so, yes, our practice actually, Bhante very skillfully kind of combined the 2. That's what I think. We're starting with metta, and we're starting to understand with the 6 R's, the relaxed step of the Anapanasati, and then the joy step of the Anapanasati also. And then when the metta has come to fruition and is very stable after a few days on retreat, usually 3, 4, 5 days, becomes very stable, very quiet, and then mind becomes very collected. And then Ukshan. And then this is when we have it's more like a satipatthana practice. It's more like a foundations of mindfulness practice with the 7 factors of awakening, with the joy, the investigation, the continuously doing that, the calming down. And in the still mind, the clear mind, at the very end of level 2, there is the steps of Anapanasati, the 4 last steps. Actually, that's what people are doing. That's what meditators are practicing. Because there's no more real objects, really. The mind is so clear and still, it's not going anywhere. The work has been done, the mind has been purified. Now it's only a matter of seeing how the mind, even the mind is impermanent. It's just arising, passing away, rising, passing away. even at the tiniest little furthest point in the practice, and to practice to let it go, to see it, see its ending, see its release, its full release, and to see liberation out of it. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful teaching. I personally, I think it's very profound and very relevant of our practice. So maybe we'll have a level 2 will be about Anapanasati. Maybe one day we'll do it. We'll jump in the waters. Yeah. Let's have a few more though before we do that, because I think it'll be beneficial.
By the way, I mean, a lot of benefit for the 7 years.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Basically, the Buddha says everything that you do, like that you give, and everything that you develop in your mind, and that in a way you give that also to others, it comes back like millions of times to you, back to you. So the things that you give, we think that, we're giving it and then we don't have it anymore, but actually what happens in the long run, you start to realize that these things come back to you like 1,000 times more. And so the merits of, for example, practicing loving kindness like that is huge. And even the Buddha said, you could give all the riches in the world, and it wouldn't be like feeding one satipatthana, one stream enterer, and then he goes through all the stages of awakening, and it wouldn't be worth like feeding 100 arahants, and then a Buddha, and then the Sangha, and then he says after that, he after all of this, he says, but someone who would practice loving kindness for the time it takes to milk a cow would just, the merits would be way more than doing all this. And then seeing impermanence for the time of a finger snap. But yeah. But usually what I say is like, do both. Practice metta and like train to see impermanence, and you're set. You're set.
Don't take a cheaper route.
Yeah, yes. Don't waste your time on the stuff.
Thank you.
Yes. Very good. Acha hai. Cha nahi.
I had a few thoughts, Bhante.
Sorry?
I had a few thoughts.
Yes, please.
I was just listening to all of you, and there's something very interesting. I think both on, I think what let me put it this way. One of the things I think I struggled with is receiving.
Yes.
Just, I mean, I could give you something and you say thank you, and I'm messed up. Like I don't know what to do when you say thank you to me. So that's basics. I kind of I get it as both a habitual tendency, but also something subtler, I think, as an inherent tendency. I think it's to do with some notional belief or an attachment that I have to a conceptual image of myself as not worthy or not deserving of it. And this time and again, I recognize that. And almost so that now in my daily routine or whatever it is that I do, my work, even if I'm just reading, if I'm not in a busy activity, so to speak, or if I'm in a busy activity, I can pick it up. I can pick it up that there is no receiving happening. I'm not prepared. I'm in this place. Let's put it this way. It's not like I decided to, but I'm in this place. So to receive that I am not receiving was wonderful. Because you see, I don't have to fix it. It's not like I have to work on the last 52 years of not having received, pay my dues, and then, somehow magically live my life. No. I can receive just that I struggle to receive. And that opened up many things for me. I'll give you an example. Let's go back to what Avinash was saying about manifesting. And, the last month or so, due to some factor or the other, and mostly it's financial, in this world, there never seems to be enough money. And there is plenty of money. It's a paradox. I don't get it. I don't think I'm ever going to be down on the streets, ever. Not even close. I don't go to the streets. I stay at home. So it's like there's no fear. There's no tangible threat. But it's there, and I live in this contradiction. Anyway, so there was this financial thing, and this has to be done, and that has to be paid, and all that stuff is going on. And I found myself intuitively saying, I really need a win here. I really need something to convert for myself. I need this job. I need them to say yes to me. And there's this job, there's this show, that we've been writing for the last 2 years, and it's 2 years of foreplay. It's just too long, When are we going to get to it? So it's just going on and on and on. So and there was this built-up expectation that, once this show is through, once we are on, this pain will ease, this drama will diffuse, and all that stuff was there. Anyhow, at any rate, I was questioning my own capability and ability to convert things, get somebody to say yes. And that's when it occurred to me that if I'm not able to receive, I don't think anyone can receive what I'm giving up. And because what I might be giving them is not truly it doesn't have the fragrance of giving. It has somehow the odor of, some better word I would say, greed. Something negative to it. It's a vibe, let's put it this way. So I said to myself, okay, what do I really want? What is my goal? And I said, okay, my goal is to get this job done in this much time, right?
Yes.
And then I asked myself, what is my purpose? Is my purpose the goal? And it wasn't. My purpose is to be happy. And that's it.
Yeah.
Well, I really liked one of the things that you said, Shankar, on the first step is to see it, is to normalize it. We need to normalize these emotions, and I think that's really important. And sometimes, I get into, it's difficult for me to touch on these subjects because of mental states, for example, like anger and all that. because it is, there's different layers of it, and it's, if we talk about it in a certain way, then it can sound like how to say, it sounds like it's a bad thing, and or like it make it sound like it's something to be completely avoided, or something that we shouldn't even, we should be ashamed of having or something. But actually that's really not what I'm trying to convey. It just depends on how we talk about it. And you know, a lot of the to start with, we need to understand that these, when these come up, is like to be aware of them in the first place is extremely important. Is like to not actually try to control and manipulate them, but to actually understand why they're coming up, and or just seeing them, and not creating any kind of taboo around unwholesome mental states or anything. Actually, the very first step is to actually see it. It's the first noble truth, for example. It's we need to see it. We need to see what's happening. And when we see it, and we start to see it more, and we start to grow a little bit more awareness of it, then we start to actually kind of understand how it works, and how, well, like, oh, okay, so this is there, you know, like a lot of people on retreat, sometimes they'll start doing forgiveness or some inner work, and things that they've completely either forgotten will come up, things that they've like pushed aside for a long time, and it's like, oh wow, okay, this thing now. But the first thing is like we need to allow the space to actually see that and to feel it. That's why I love somatic experiencing so much, is like also it's actually allowing you to feel how that feels in your body and in your mind, to really kind of get a full sense of what that is. And yeah, actually we were talking about that not too long ago, how sometimes this practice can be understood as if we're just trying to, you know, get rid of things, or get rid of emotions that are like unskillful or unwholesome. But it's not. It's actually about understanding them and feeling them, and then starting to work with them. So it's really important. And what you're pointing out, Shankar, is really important. I think we need to normalize that, and not be thinking that it's, you know, it's a crime, or it's a sin, or it's a shame, or whatever to feel these things. No, not at all. That means that there's something. That's what that means. And so it's showing us things. And in any case, that's a beautiful talk, beautiful sharing. Thank you all for your inputs and sharing your lives and insights. Very wonderful. And I think on this, that's usually the time we have for the meetings. And so maybe we can share our merits and then be on our way. Okay. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck feeling fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share these merits that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty powers, share these merits of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu. I wish you a beautiful week, month.
You too, Bhante.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.